So here for round one in the replay format. And we're on the draw. Our hand is pretty good. We have 2, 3, 4, good mana. So things to note is that we don't have any real way to interact with our opponent. We're hoping they're playing a slower deck. Aether Hub kind of tells us that that's sort of the case. And they lead with a tune, which doesn't really tell me anything except for they don't have a green source. But obviously now they do. So we draw Botanical Sanctum. So we got lands for days. Evolving Wild's probably going to fetch Mountain. They play their forest. We can close this. Servant of the Conduit is very powerful. So now they're going to be pretty far ahead of us. We draw another land, which is obviously not great. And we just pass, trying to grapple back something good. But it is noteworthy that in these spots, grapple does not find interaction. And that is especially problematic when our opponent has turn 3 Chandra on the play. So, big deal, big deal. Card I probably want off this grapple is something like Ishkana, I guess. But not super happy about it. So, we grapple. We play Rogue Refiner after getting back Servant. Nothing too great. And they have Felidar Guardian. And what else? Oh, a combo. They just kill me on turn 4, kind of from the trees. So, Chandra is a card that I have not played a ton with in my deck. Did not seem super great because you don't have a lot of great ways to protect it. Obviously, if you go like Whirler Virtuoso into it, then you can maybe milk Chandra and get a decent amount of value. But this is another thing that Chandra is really good at doing, which is just plus 2 mana, and then you do broken stuff. In this case, just kill me from the trees. So Chandra is the main threat, which forces me to tap out instead of like maybe rep counter magic or whatever, and then they just combo me out. So overall, pretty impressive stuff. At that point, I was like, maybe I should take a second look at the Chandra card because some of the lists that have been popping up recently have been doing pretty well. So we start game 2. Brought in, some counter spells and whatnot. And look, our hand has a million of them. But since we have Hub and no Island, I don't think we can really keep that. We mulligan. This hand is completely serviceable. We're going to be able to Glimmer on 3 if we want. So our hand is a little bit faster than last time. And I believe we bottom that grapple. Not that it matters because we're just going to tune anyway. But I would not have wanted that grapple in this hand. So we draw Harness Lightning, which is kind of cool. And then they play a Servant. They match us. So we can kill the Servant and grapple. Or we can just Glimmer. And in spots like these, assuming that whether or not you choose to kill their 2-drop is debatable, which in this case I think it is because we might want the Harness Lightning to stop a combo, then I think it's just better to play the more expensive spell, especially when this one is one that gives us a lot of velocity and allows us to, hit our land drop next turn. Maybe play Rogue Refiner with a 2-mana card up. Whereas if I go 2-mana card, 2-mana card, next turn, what are my options? Rogue Refiner pass? Maybe not even have a 2-drop? Glimmer of Genius and just like have a dead mana? I guess attack for 2 with that? I'm not about that life. I want to play my big spell here. And I kind of get punished with the Chandra. So I think there would have been kind of a good point or a good time for them to actually kill our Servant. But what they did is also fine. It's clear that they just want to protect the Chandra. So like killing the Servant's obviously good, but see now like if they did kill my Servant, I would have been able to Glimmer into the Shock and just take care of the Chandra, no problem. Instead, I keep the Shock anyway to have a clean answer to the Servant so that the Rogue Refiner can get through. Bottom the Island. I do want the Island. I don't want it to be exactly Island. I definitely want a land, but I'm going to have 2 draw steps at it, maybe 3 if I just play the Rogue Refiner, so I think it's okay to just bottom it. And I don't necessarily want a bunch of lands, I just want the one. So we attune, get Forest. Gonna attack the Chandra. We could shock the Rogue Refiner, or shock the Servant, but I think it's fine to just play the Rogue Refiner, get the damage here, maybe shock/lightning blockers, and actually take out Chandra. So they untap, add 2 mana, blink Chandra, add 2 more mana. And at this point, I'm like, oh my god, am I just getting, like, Chandra comboed again? And no, Whirler Virtuoso. Like, it's still pretty good. Now they have 6 energy, and they have a Chandra that's very well protected. So I'm definitely in a bad spot. If only Harness Lightning with my 9 energy could hit a Planeswalker, that'd be nice. So here, we're missing our land drop. So I think I want to grapple. We hit Spire Bluff Canal, so that's cool. Now we have Gearhulk. We don't really have good attacks because they have 1/4 and Thopters. I don't want to trade Rogue Refiner for 2 Thopters. So here, I'm like, gonna keep open mana in case they do something like this. But also, maybe they make an attack and then I can kill one of their blockers on tap, you know, attack Chandra and shock it or something. So they go for the combo, I go for the Harness Lightning, they have Negate, I have Dispel. So, cheap interaction, people, cheap interaction. You know, it's not over. We did stop the combo, but they still have 2 Planeswalkers and are just, like, in way better shape, somehow. I don't know how. If our Shock were in our graveyard, or if we had, like, you know, a 6th land, 7th land, whatever, we could have a good time, but instead we have 2 Torrential Gearhulks with not enough mana. And Rogue Refiner's getting in here. I imagine it's going to trade with Whirler. That's fine. That's, like, a fine trade. And then we're going to Shock to kill one of these Planeswalkers. I think Chandra. Chandra seems like the bigger threat. And then play out Servant, and then hopefully we have 2 Gearhulks. In the meantime, they're scrying a bunch. Obviously, we're just dead to a combo. They don't necessarily know that, and they don't really know what our deck is. They're not willing to actually, like, offer up the trade for Servant. It's certainly reasonable for them to want to leave it back to protect Saheeli and everything, because if they didn't do that, I could play Gearhulk, kill their blocker, and kill Saheeli. So, and now my opponent's just kind of flooding out. We have Gearhulk when they go to attack with Servant, so again, it's like, oh, maybe they don't know what I'm playing, but I flashback Glimmer, keep Glimmer, negate, and then they Harness Lightning my Gearhulk. So now they're on E. So now it's like hard to tell whether or not they knew I had Gearhulk in my deck or not, like whether they figured it out, but now clearly they're just like, alright, we're not going to run into this again. So shock the blocker, main phase Glimmer, bottom 2 lands, draw 2 more lands, kill Saheeli. So we're doing okay. You know, we're at 6. And we negate that Oath of Nissa because I don't want them to draw a creature threat off of it. And I'm not sure, like, how good negate actually is. We're going to 2. Not great. Draw another Gearhulk. Okay, kind of back in business, right? Kill a token main phase to not get counterspelled. Maybe this was not bad. Maybe I wanted to wait until they attack because then I could kill one, they wouldn't have a blocker, and then I would just be able to kill them. So they draw Felidar Guardian. What did they get? What did they get? They got a Whirler. So yeah. Now they have a bunch of energy. Not a bunch, but enough to make a Thopter. We draw a dead negate. We're dead to the 2 Thopters, and there's nothing we can do. So, kind of an interesting matchup. My opponent just got like a little bit ahead and then leveraged 2 Thopters, and I think they did a really good job of actually figuring out like where they were in the game and what they're trying to do, and having a plan and executing it. You know, it's like, all right, well, we're going to try and combo and win the game back up. All right, that didn't work. So now how do we win the game? And it's by beatdown with these 1/1 flyers, and it worked. It got me. I had 16 energy, never really drew a big card, kind of flooded out. Makes me wonder if I want more Marvel type stuff in this matchup because Gearhulk seemed a little slow. This might be a matchup where not only did I completely cut Ishkanah, but maybe I just want to trim on Gearhulk too. So good to know.